All right, so I know this is my third video today, but I actually was off the computer for a lot of the day. I was writing in my journal and figuring all this stuff out, and I'm just having a real epiphany about all this stuff. So, the basis of what is entertaining to a human being can be boiled down to moving images and sounds with a social element. That is the most best case scenario entertaining thing that a person can watch. So when you have television and computer screens and phone screens, there's always some variation of moving images, moving sounds, and sometimes with a social element. Okay, so if you think about it, for example, in the 50s, you had 50s, 40s, etc. You had radio shows, right? So you had the sound and you had the social element. They would tell a story. It was entertaining for people. Not necessarily entertaining enough to get people fully addicted, but it was still entertaining, right? Then the television came out. Then you had moving images and sounds with a social element. They started with like sitcom type shows. You had the social story of somebody going through some kind of thing. You had movies, and the character would go through whatever it was. You had the images, which are moving, which are the people. They had a social element because they were people. And you had the sound, usually with music and to match the mood, etc. But people will also sometimes look at just moving images. It always has to be moving, though. That's the thing. And you might say, well, photos are not moving and people look at photos. Yeah, but people don't stare at the same photo for an hour, typically. They usually are switching from photo to photo, especially if it's new photos. It's more interesting. Just like if it's a new moving image and sound with a social element, it's more interesting. Okay, so you had the television, right? Okay. Then for a while it was television, radio, CDs. Then you got CDs and DVDs, right? Okay, so they came around. Then you were able to have shows and music, and I know cassettes and all that stuff. I'm just saying CDs, DVDs, we're going to skip VHS and cassettes. Okay? So you had tailored movies and moving images and sounds with a social element, right? You had tailored music that you can listen to what you wanted to listen to because you owned it. And you can watch movies that you liked, that tailored to your taste. You could just put it in the DVD player and watch it anytime you want. So it's tailored moving images and sounds. And it's all indoors, okay? It's all indoors because now we have boxes that will play moving images and sounds in an otherwise static environment, the static environment of the walls and the furniture that is still. Okay, so all you have that is moving is your family, whatever pets you might have or roommates or whatever, and everything else is static. But you do have the machines that play the moving images and sounds, whether it be a television or a computer or a phone, right? But we're up to DVDs. So DVDs and CDs, you had the CDs were moving sounds with a social element. The song lyrics usually had social relevance to you in your taste in music or your culture. Then you had the moving images and sounds, the movies that you like, the stories that you like, right? So then computers came along. Now there's an algorithm that is literally learning your individual psychology so they can bring to you an unlimited, user-created, tailored, moving images and sounds that you typically want. And it's learning you, and it's going to recommend what they think you're going to like. Okay? So it is literally learning your individual psychology. And not only that, now, rather than old shows where people would not break the fourth wall, now there's vloggers, streamers, and all things. They're all breaking the fourth wall, and they're all looking at you, kind of like I am right now. But I have good intentions. I'm not trying to, but it's like what happens is we're looking at these people on the screen. We're developing an emotional connection with these people on the screen, and we can always find new people, and they always seem to be talking to me, right? They always seem to be talking to me. They're looking at the camera, they're talking to you, they always seem, but it's just blinking lights, it's just moving images and sounds. They don't really know you, and you don't really know them, okay? And so you have these tailored people talking to you, okay? New people, and sometimes it's hard for the friends that you have to compete because you're always able to find a person that is tailored to your preferences, whether they be physically attractive or they be funny or have a similar sense of humor to you, and you're able to find these people, and your family and friends can't always compete. I'm not saying you stop talking to them, but you find yourself spending a little bit more time on watching the screen, watching these streamers, watching these vloggers, right? Or playing a video game with other people with the moving images and sounds, but you're not in person. You're communicating through avatars and sometimes only through text. So it seems like human relationships are getting phased out because they can't compete with the flickering lights that appear to be people that you like. But it's always moving images and sounds with a social element that is most interesting to people. So now that the computer is tailoring it to our psychology, giving us exactly the moving images and sounds with the social element that we want, nature can't compete, and even our family and friends can't compete sometimes. So that is why the internet is sucking us in, okay? And now, what was I going to say now? So here's the alternative, though. Here's the alternative. Turning off the machines. But then what do you have? You have a static room with no moving images and sounds with a social element. So you have to give up the main thing that people find interesting and go back to the old ways. Maybe you read a novel where the book is tailoring your daydreaming so you're seeing moving images and sounds in your mind. Okay? But that's not as exciting as seeing moving images and sounds in reality. So that's what makes it so addictive, is that you're seeing physically exactly what you want to see because the algorithm is learning you. But people will always be entertained by moving images and sounds, especially with a social element. That's the main baseline of what entertains a person. So these boxes were basically invented to make moving images and sounds, especially with a social element, to be an indoor phenomenon rather than having to go out and go somewhere like to a concert or to, wherever it is that you want to go. Okay, and experience these things. Now you have it conveniently in a single machine, which is known as the computer, which is very addictive. Okay, so yeah, that's my thoughts. figured I'd share that. And all right, see ya.